Okay, hello everyone. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about the definition of the feminism films. First of all, I'm going to introduce the book Feminist Theory, read by Bell Hooks. In this book, she analyzed the feminist theory in the past and drew a conclusion that when a film is defined as a feminist film, it may determine that the expression of the film represents the position of the creator or definer and their cognizance of feminism. So that pushes another question. Does audience background affect their definition of feminism films? So this primary research are going to focus on this question. And for the method, I choose interview. This is because that questionnaires is too simple to these questions, and I try to ask more open-answered questions. Furthermore, the form of interview can collect information more easily and investigate how people of different backgrounds perceive feminist films. And about the questions in the interview, it concludes 5 questions. First two is open-ended questions. The first one is asking the interviewees, what movies do you think can embody feminism? For the second question, it is what aspects of them are feminist? And I ask them to choose two to explain. And the third question, I ask them, what other means do you think can show feminism in movies? Although it seems to repeat the second question, it could jump out of the movie they choose and allowing respondents to give their answers after sufficient reflection. And for the last 2 questions, I asked them, do you think the publicity of films will affect audience perception of feminism? And are female creators better able to embody feminism in films than male? These 2 questions will show that in the audience judgment, excluding the content of the film itself, whether the film's publicity and creation background will affect their definition of feminist films. And about the interviewees, I choose 6 people, and 3 of them for each gender. For their background, I choose different background, including filmmaking students, film lovers, and the people has no special interest in films. For the results, the first thing is about the movie they choose. We can see these elements are included in the movies. There are superhero, crime, and suspense. These 2 elements are most chosen by the male audience. And experimental film are chosen by and experimental films are mostly chosen by the filmmaking students. After all, the majority of the films contains the love story and family elements. Next thing behind the movies is the gender of the director. We can see although the percentage of each gender are similar, the male directors are still more than female. Next, we are going to see do they agree with the 4th question. Surprisingly, most of them agree with it. Traditionally, we think that the film itself defines how it is. But in these answers, we can see the publicity of films truly can affect audience perception. For the last question, we can see over half of them choose not always the film creator can better able to embody feminism. So in conclusion, this research shows it is true that different audience groups do have different definitions of feminist films, and for the stories, their choices are more about family and love. In addition, male audience tend to choose films about suspense and superheroes, and most of them believe that gender of the director does not affect the feminist expression of the film. Instead, commercial operation and publicity will affect the connotation of the audience. And on the issue of how can the film express feminism, the views are narration, audiovisual expression, and role orientation. So it can be seen from the answers that most of their definitions of feminist films include independent and dynamic female roles and stories about women's liberation. Okay, this is the end of the presentation. Thank you.